April on our platform is all about advocacy, be it self advocacy with Suha, parent advocacy with Swati, and today it is disability rights advocacy. To talk about this very important topic, we have Advocate Preetha is Chandran with us. Hi, my name is Moshumi, an educator at Navy Children's School in Kochi. I thrive on teaching through engaging methods such as singing, leveraging art and craft, and fostering experiential learning. Spectrum, the Awareness Project, is a parent support group committed to create inclusive community. The theme this year is coming together, and in that league, I invite our guest for the session, Advocate Preetha. Preetha S. Chandran is a parent of a child with special needs and an advocate practicing in the High Court of Kerala. She gained an understanding of the practical challenges faced by parents, particularly in legal matters. Advocate Preetha, we are reaching out to you because of your expertise and experience as both a parent of a child with special needs and an advocate practicing in the High Court of Kerala. We are currently focusing on raising awareness about the practical challenges that parents face, especially in legal matters when advocating for their children with special needs. Your unique perspective and insights would be incredibly valuable to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pritha. Before we delve into discussion, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Could you please take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, good afternoon, all. As Moshmi has rightly pointed out, I'm a lawyer practicing in the High Court of Kerala. More than that, I'm a parent of a special need child, aged 15 years. My son is diagnosed with autism, and upon his diagnosis, I had to quit my profession and being a primary health caretaker of the child. During that time, I met lot of like-minded individuals and parents, and during that time, I understood that there was several unhealthy practices that was happening around in the system, which made me rethink uh, about coming back to my profession. So that's how in the year 2021, when my son was at the age of 12 years, I came back to the profession uh, under the guidance of an eminent Supreme Court lawyer, Sri Renjit Marar, and I'm practicing in the High Court of Kerala from then now. My son now is independent enough to cater his needs with limited assistance. So that is how I came back to my profession. Like.
Mashmi, please unmute yourself.
Okay, Pritha. We have few queries, so we would be asking you a few questions. Now, how might legal training for parents on the spectrum, contribute to their ability to advocate for their children's rights and access necessary support services? If you can tell us something about it.
Yeah, legal training actually helps parents understand their legal rights and how to use these rights effectively while advocating their child's needs in the healthcare setup or in an educational setup or while administering a social setup. So it or not only gain an understanding or creating an awareness, the legal training helps to understand about the legal protection against discrimination. So I would like to I have met a lot of parents in the spectrum. A lot of my parents are my friends also. Like me, they have gained sufficient knowledge in all the fields. Like in the medical field, they have gained a lot of research work. Like they know what works for their child, what medicines work for their child and what not. And they have gained sufficient knowledge in the special education training things, like what individual plan work for their child. They know, they have a sufficient understanding about all these things. But I was surprised when it comes to the legal aspect. They have no knowledge about it. They are not aware of about the legal rights that is available to them. For example, during the autism awareness month, this month April, I've been seeing many parents holding the placards where it would be written, different not less, include us, uh, embrace the diversity, acceptance. We do not need to write all this, and like everything is written in the law. If you have enough time to go through the RPWD Act, which is the Right of Persons with Disability Act 2016, you will be knowing all these rights are there in the law. It is up to you to enhance the knowledge. And if there is a discrimination or if there is an abuse that is happening, then you should fight for it. You don't have, the law provides, the main object of the law is inclusion, respect and recognition of the persons with disability. So everything, that's what, so the legal training is very much important at the ground level itself. It not only improve your skills, it will make you, it will boost your confidence while dealing with people. For example, I would like to quote my own life experience in this aspect. Last week we went to a temple. I don't know how many of you are aware of this temple. It's a very crowded temple in Kerala, and very famous temple named Guruvayur. We need to wait for 3 to 4 hours in the queue to have a darshan, blissful darshan. So I, being a mother of a special need, I know that my child will get a concession, special concession, and a special ticket to have darshan. I went and took the ticket, and while standing on in the queue, I saw an employee from the Devasam board showing a very indecent gesture, which literally meant, "Are you mad?" It was a gesture to mean like that. So I just questioned her. I confronted her then and there, asking, "What is your problem? This is, my child is autistic." But she immediately apologized to me, saying that she didn't mean it in that way. On upon questioning, she said that it might be true. Like she was apologizing from her heart that she didn't meant that. What I understood was that my son has some sensory issues, so he would be doing things with his. He has habit of playing with his head and doing things with his eyeballs. His he would be like he was not looking, he was closing, opening and shutting his eyes. So that lady thought that my son was having some dizziness. So she was asking me in that way, but what I thought it was, like she was asking whether my child is mad. So this is what happens. So if you don't, so next time, what I understood from that is that she became she became worried and she apologized to me. And that is a point where I realized that if you really know what is right and wrong, and next time she won't repeat that word in a public place, she won't use that gesture, because she understood that uh, this has a bad impression on other people. So if you know the right, you can always challenge it. If you don't know the right, you will feel upset about yourself, and you will get offended. So you don't want to bow down or bend down to anyone, because it, everyone is equal before law, and we have the right to equality.
Okay, okay. So, how can legal measures effectively intervene to support individuals, on the autism spectrum, ensuring their rights, access to resources, and inclusion in society, while safeguarding against discrimination and promoting their overall well-being?
Yeah, this before moving on to this question, like I would like to mention about the constitutional rights that are available in India. Like most of you might be knowing about the fundamental right to equality and to right to live with personal liberty. So this is being guaranteed from the year 1950 when the constitution was formed. So it is not that you we as parents should understand that everybody is equal before law, and uh, no one is not. Everybody should be treated before equal before law. And if the child is, if you are a person with disability, one cannot discriminate you on the basis of disability. This, after this constitutional rights, we in the year 2016, RPWD Act was formed, which is for the right of persons with disability. And the main aim and object of the Act, as I said earlier, is to respect and recognize the persons with disability. I know most of you would be very surprised to know that the Act itself aims in the inclusion of the persons with disability. The, the act says that the person should be there to eradicate discrimination. There should be equal protection for the persons with disability. This is the main object of the act. When the act itself gives such ensures such objective, then what are we worried of? What, as a parent, what are we worried of? If you have time to just Google the act and go through the act from the Google, it's a very small act. It won't take more than a half an hour to read and understand the law that is being guaranteed in India. The first, so I'm not going into elaborate into the act because of the time constraint. I would like to let you know some main important things that the law gives us, the protection that the law guarantees. The first and the foremost is the right against discrimination. And that I don't want to explain more about. That word discrimination itself is very clear. And the second thing is that the protection and safety. This is very important. Like the law guarantees protection to persons with disability. What does that mean? It is protection and safety means if there is a national calamity that is happening or a natural disaster is coming and you are living in a place where this calamity is happening, you will be given preference to come out of this disaster if you have a child with disability. So that makes the that is what the law guarantees you in this aspect. So apart from that, how many of you have heard about the right to live in a community? The law guarantees the right to live in a community setup. I have seen many parents in the group complaining that my neighbor my neighbor complained to me that my child is loud and he's crying all the day, which is causing irritation to the neighbor. What I would suggest to such parents is that it is not at all your problem. It is a problem of the neighbor that she has to deal with. You don't have to interfere in that in any way, because the every child or every person with disability has a right to live in a community setup. Nobody can question that, or nobody can challenge it. If they have a problem with the sound of your child, it is their duty to remove their house or move from that area to another place. It is not your duty. You are not going to move from that place. If you are aware of these little things that the law provides, you will be able to deal with it in a better way. And This is one such important thing that the law guarantee. Another thing which is very, very important is the education. The RPWD Act, Chapter 3 provides dealt in detail with in about the education system, how it should function, and how inclusive it should be, and all. The main and the foremost aim of the Act is to uh, provide inclusive education to the persons with disability. If, the Act aims at giving equal opportunity. That the Act does not say that your child should go and get an admission in a special school. The Act provides an inclusive education in an educational institution where all the children or the so-called normal children are studying. But the only problem with this is that the law is silent about the private schools or the private institutions. They the act is very much about the government institution. So what I have understood from my all these from my experience as a lawyer is that even though the law does not guarantee admission, or if the law is silent about the private institutions denying admission to people with disability, I if in a situation where there is only one school in your neighborhood which is a private school, and there are no other schools within your place where you are residing, then you have all the opportunity to get an admission in that private school. You don't have you They cannot deny you the admission, saying that they don't have the resources, they don't have the what they don't have the accessibility to the school. They cannot deny admission on any site, because if they deny such things, you can actually challenge them before the law. So that is what the law guarantee. Then protection from cruelty and inhuman treatment, that's also very important. Protection from abuse and abuse, violence, and exploitation. About this, we are reading it daily on newspapers. The disability sector is being mentally, physically, and even sexually is being harassed and exploited on a day-to-day basis. And parents, even though they are aware of it, they are not ready to uh, take the challenge and move forward into the court of law, because they feel that their it would affect them in another bad way. But it is not like that. Actually, as a lawyer, what I would suggest is, if there is a inhuman practice that is happening in your if you are aware of such inhuman practices or cruelty or any abuse, exploitation, you can very well approach the police station within the jurisdiction where the offense has committed, and you can approach the police, and the police will register an FIR, and the police will file a report to the magistrate within the jurisdiction of that particular area. So this most when we speak about the right of persons with disability act, people would think about only about complaining to the disability commissioner. It is not like that. Disability commissioner is not the ultimate person, and you don't feel that he is the only person to complain about any inhuman practices or abuses or anything that is happening to the disability sector. No, he is also a very important person, but it is not him. The law provides all that which is available to a normal so-called normal people. It is being available to disability sector also. Like, if there is an abuse, if you witness an abuse that has been happened to a disabled people or a disabled child, a person who witnesses it, can also approach the police station, or the parent or the caretaker or the teacher or the therapist. Anyone can immediately file a complaint in the nearby police station, and the police people should register the FIR within a short period of time. So this is what the law speaks about. And and coming to another thing is that we have most of you might be knowing, we have the accessibility to vote. Like at the attainment of 18 years, all children, all persons with disability has a right to vote. Mm, and about the reproductive rights also, um, uh, that is another part of law. There is something called consent. So if you really want to uh, like for example, I have seen many therapists asking for a consent letter from the parents, and the parents, without even going through it, just give a consent to the uh, therapist or the teacher who is taking care of your child or the school. But you should make it a point that you should read what is the consent speaks about. If the consent is some, if in the consent letter, if something is mentioned that what is happening inside the therapy room, uh, if something happens to the child inside the therapy room, that the therapist or the organization is not, is if there is a clause which states that the therapist or the organization is not legally bound to for the accidents or anything that is happening to a child with disability during the therapy hours, that consent is void and illegal. They cannot take a consent letter in such a way from any of us, because the law guarantees that you should give a consent before letting your child to any therapist or any therapy center or to in any school also. You are giving a consent. That consent is a very important thing. uh, as a caretaker or as a parent of a person with disability, you are supposed to give a consent. But that consent should not be like that, where you are giving a informal consent for the happenings inside the therapy room. That is wrong. Mm, that cannot be accepted, and that is against the law. So the consent can be such in such a way that we are doing the set therapy to the child during this allotted time, and the parent is not inside the therapy room, and we are responsible for the uh, happenings that is within the time frame. The consent, you have to give that consent. And if any of the therapist or any of the organization is not asking you for a consent, then that is also against law. The law guarantees that a person, if while dealing with a person with disability, an informed consent has to be got from the caretaker of the person with disability. So then that is and another thing that I would like to bring to your notice, and I spoke about the reproductive right. Reproductive right is nothing that no person with disability shall be subject to any medical procedure which leads to infertility without his or her free and informed consent. That is what the law speaks about. That is about the reproductive right. And coming back to the other thing, that is the photographs. The if if any institution or a therapist or any person dealing with your child is taking a vulnerable picture of the which showcases the disability, that that is not they cannot advertise that picture for the saying for asking for funds or for creating an awareness. They cannot use that photographs for any purposes, even if they want. Giving consent to such photograph itself is a crime. If the parent does that, that itself is a crime. But if the photographs are very, if the child is sitting in a wheelchair, that is okay. But if you have, but if for that case also, the parent has to take a, parent has to give a consent to the so-called institution who is promoting that picture for advertisements or for funding or for as a non-charitable, for any other non-charitable purposes, if they are using their photographs. So but any vulnerable picture, taking any vulnerable picture is against law, which showcases the disability in a vulnerable way, where if you for example, if a child is showing a very aggressive behavior when it comes to a autism spectrum disorder, and you are showcasing to get a sympathy from the public that this child is in such a vulnerable state and the parents need money, that giving consent to such thing is itself is a crime, but people are doing it. And people are making money out of it, and nobody, because nobody questions. The parents are giving informed consent, they involve the parents also into that. So they think that this is the usual process. You are not if you are not aware of the law, you would not be knowing. If somebody say that I want this photographs for any funding purpose or such purpose, I have got many, because most of my clients have told me all these long stories about how these photographs are being used to for funding from foreign countries. So please don't accept such things from anybody. Like, even though if they are a caretaker, or if they are a government, if they are an institutions run for the uh, especially catering to the special needs children or anyone, because law doesn't allow such things. So this is the gist. I hope I have covered everything. And there is about the legal capacity of a person with disability. That is also a very important thing, because a person with disability can actually inherit any property which is movable or immovable. He can actually own and control their financial affairs, like a normal person. He has the legal capacity to inherit any property from the ancestors or others. So being a person with disability, that doesn't debar you from inheriting any property. So that is also there. And if and at some in some cases, we need, while inheriting certain property, we'll need the help of a support person. If the person with disability feels, or if the parent feels that the support person is not there, there is no support person who can help the child when the parents are not around, the parents can actually approach the competent court, which is the district court, for the appointment of a guardian. So there shall be a legal guardian to look after the uh, property of a person with disability. That is also said in the law. So this is just about the RPWD Act and the legal rights available to the persons with disability.
Okay, I got to know many things. Umail is watching the session, and she says that communication gap exists everywhere. Teaching the right word is very important. So then we'll go to the next question. What legal procedures and criteria are involved in obtaining a disability certificate? And how does possessing such a documentation impact an individual's access to support services, accommodations, and then rights within the society?
Okay. Actually, about getting a disability certificate, we actually, as per, if I'm not wrong, form number 1. There is a form number 1. We have to move an application in form number 1, along with a residential certificate and also two passport size photographs. Um, and you have to fill that form and give it to the government hospital in which you are residing. Like it is a taluk hospital mainly. Only government hospitals or the taluk hospitals can, uh, that is there in the district where you are residing. Uh, they only can issue a disability certificate. And when such certificate is being submitted to the medical authority in the government hospital, the medical authority means a panel of doctors who are professionals in various fields. They shall assess the child's disability, and in accordance with that, they shall uh, provide a disability certificate. That certificate shall be either a permanent disability certificate or a temporary disability certificate. Coming to autism spectrum disorder, they usually give a temporary disability certificate because they say that as the age mm, increases, the child's percentage of disability also fluctuates. So this the temporary disability certificate that we get from the district taluk hospital is valid only for a period of 5 years. On the expiry of the said period of 5 years, you will have to again approach the medical authority by submitting the application form along with the old disability certificate, and you have to renew it. So it is not a it's actually a 1 day process. You don't need to run for 2-3 times or not like that. So it will not take more than a month to in Kerala it won't take more than a month to actually get the disability certificate. So it will vary from state to states, but I might be knowing only about Kerala because I have got the disability certificates from Kerala. And when I speak about the benefits, that is enormous benefits are there. Uh, my child gets around 30,000 rupees a year on account of scholarship and other grants. There is also a Niramaya scheme available, which comes around 8,000. That is all the grants and the scheme I'm talking about. Then disability certificates will give you tax-free concessions. Then and it will also give a barrier-free life where you don't have to stand in the queue or in the while availing while going to a hospital. Also, you don't have to wait for your token if you actually have a disability certificate. So that is how the disability. But as a lawyer, I would suggest that disability certificates is very important, and it is like it also provides certain legal exemptions which is not available for the person so-called normal people. So it is always better to get a disability certificate, and even though if you don't avail all those concessions, grants or other things for to get the legal exemptions, at least you should possess a disability certificate from the district level.
So we have heard about UDID. So what are the legal requirements and procedures for obtaining a unique disability identification card, that is UDID? And how does possessing this card facilitate access to disability benefits, then services, and rights for individuals with disabilities?
Okay. Uh, the law is not, the RPWD Act doesn't speak about the unique disability ID. The unique disability ID is being formulated in the year 2021. It's a Divyanjan project. So it is given by the central government. it is actually a unique code that you get for your disability. Everything would be written in a in a card, like credit card. All your disability percentage, what is your name, your parent, everything would be written. What is your actual disability is, everything would be written in a piece, in a card like format, and which has like I told, it has a lot of other added advantage. Like I have heard people saying that persons with more than 75% of disabilities would get 1,400 rupees per month or something like that. And since Act is silent about this unique disability card, and the main difference between, and without possessing a regional, I mean district level disability certificate, you will not be able to avail the unique disability ID, because mm, unique disability ID can only be available to a person where this district level disability certificate is there. It is a tassel free process. Like you can actually get get it through an online process, online portal, where if you search for the unique disability uh, card, if you search like that in Google itself, that format would come. We have to it is a self-explanatory thing. Like you can just apply online with all the necessary documents that they say, and apply it online, and the card you will get a number then and there itself, and that number is actually essential, actually enough for availing the benefits. And in a period of around 1 month, I think you will get a card, unique disability ID card. This is applicable all over India, and this is a recognition that your disability is uh, it's a unique identity that you get from throughout India. Like you can easily access with this card throughout India and get all the exemptions. Even railway fare exemptions, air flight tickets reservation exemption. So a lot of exemptions are there with this unique disability ID. So it is more helpful and more this thing than the local disability certificate that you get from the district. And that's a main difference between these two, and that's how it.
So, Preetha, as a parent of a differently able child, what message would you like to give to our audience?
Yeah, the message that I would surely I wanted to let all parents know that being a parent and an advocate, as I said earlier, upon his diagnosis at the age of 4, I was running behind the therapy centers, thinking about a miracle cure. uh, and I was not. I knew that something wrong was happening around, but I was not sure about what actually was. I was running behind the therapy centers. So one fine day, when he was at the age of 6, an accident occurred to him while undergoing an occupational therapy, and actually his arms were broken. And upon visiting the doctor and having an operation, the doctors told me that uh, some force was used on him. Being a nonverbal child, we do not know what really had happened. But as a parent at that point of time, my brain was in a free state. I was not able to think in a proper way. Um, s- but after a point, I came out of it, and I didn't take it in so lightly. Like I really wanted to mm, make a difference in that aspect, and I talked with many of my friends, therapists, and during that time I met Dr. Seema Lal. who's the mentor of Together We Can. And with her help, actually, we moved it forward. And then only we understood that this whole system of is was not in a proper form. Like there was no regulation for the therapy centers, there was no committee to monitor them, there was nothing. It was running like any other retail shop, with licenses that a retail shop would have. It was running in such a way. So we actually wanted to create a change, and we fought for it. And we fought in the High Court, and at last, in the year 2021, the government of Kerala is one among the first state to introduce guidelines for the regulation of therapy centers all over Kerala. So now, if a child in Kerala is if there is an ill treatment happening, or if if the parent is not accompanying a child, they can very well challenge it in the court, because we have the law here. But I stopped there. But Seema is still fighting, and she has approached the Honorable Supreme Court to make a massive change throughout India. And I think when you look into the status of the case, what I came to know is that we have created. We could create a district level committee, that is Together We Can, could create make an impact all over India, like around almost except 5 or 6 states, almost other states have created district level committees. So there is a hope. Still, the final judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court has not come. So still there is a hope. So that is how that what I wanted to say about. I wanted to tell parents or my friends is that we should not. We first of all, we need to accept the differences. Accept the fact that your child is different. You don't run for a miracle cure, and accept that he's a child. And don't run behind the diagnosis. Run behind the child, and you will be able to make a difference. And uh, and and uh, and the legal training aspect. And one thing I forgot to tell you is that recently a client came to me, but she could actually, she got a transfer to a remote place in Kerala. She actually didn't want that transfer. So she approached our office for a stay order. And upon further questioning her and knowing about her in detail, I came to understand that her child is undergoing some therapy in a center nearby. So I asked her about this disability certificate, to which she said she doesn't want that. So I said, if you have a disability certificate, the law exempt you from transferring to a place, to a farther place. So she was not ready to accept that fact, and she literally had to fight in the High Court, and finally she didn't get the. And actually, we approached the therapy center where her child was studying, and where her child was going through therapy, and we got a certificate from there. But the court didn't look into that certificate. They said it's not the government district disability certificate, that only is acceptable. So and that's what, that acceptance has to come from the ground level. Since she was not ready to accept the fact and move forward and approaching the district, or for in finding to get a disability certificate for her child, she has to face that consequence of transfer. She has to, actually, she has to move to the remote place now, and the child is here. So the child is only suffering, not the mother. So that is why accept the child as he is, and remove the diagnosis and continue to live in the society happily and with the knowing about your legal rights.
Thank you so much, Preetha, for being with us and sharing your insights with us. I'm quite sure that our valued audience would definitely benefit from this session. I would like to thank the audience for staying connected with us. Last but not the least, my heartfelt gratitude to Spectrum uh, for giving us an opportunity to talk about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, even I would like to thank you, Shivali, for giving me an opportunity to speak about as a lawyer to all the parents and all the therapists, everybody.